Continuing on with Chapter 9, turning the page to 254, we have a lot to write on this page. You must know, oh, did you see, I'm in my son's room and so he has his Star Wars characters up there. You must know particle sizes of clay, silt, and sand. You must also know the term loam, which is an equal mix of three, clay, silt, and sand, and is usually best for agriculture. Also know the term plow pan, which is a hard layer of soil that resists water. So you can see the particle sizes on this page here. We have here clay is the smallest, silt is the largest, is the second largest, and sand is the largest in terms of diameter. Now some of you may think, well, clay should be bigger, right? Clay clumps together. Well, actually, yes, clay clumps, and so sometimes it may seem larger, but it's a bunch of particles clumped together, so it really is not larger. So when you take apart all those clay clumps and you filter out its particle sizes, you get clay as being the smallest particle size. So make sure you know those three in order. You also need to know about physical soil tests. We have soil sieves, so I'll demo these in class for you, which separate soil into particle sizes, clay, silt, and sand. Here's other soil tests. Porosity, which is the amount of water a soil can hold. It's also referred to as its pore size, hence the word porosity. Gravel has the most porosity, sand has the least. Another physical soil test is permeability, also known as drainage rates. It is how fast a soil drains, so the water drains in a soil. If the drainage rate is too high and the water goes through the soil too fast, the roots don't get enough water. If the drainage rate is too slow, then soil becomes waterlogged and the roots can actually rot and die in soil that's holding too much water. And so in class there will be some demos or some experiments on these tests. You must, for an FRQ and for a multiple choice, know examples and be able to write about examples of physical soil tests. On page 255, under regional differences in soil traits can affect agriculture, you need to know the term swidden, which is slash and burn. You also need to know why tropical rainforest soil is poor and the U.S. Midwest soil is great, and that is also on this page as well, so make sure you know it. The next section is soil degradation, problems, and solutions. Turn the page to 256. Page 256 talks about how they measure erosion. You just need to know the terms, what erosion means, deposition means. Erosion means soil moving away from an area. Deposition means that soil depositing in a different area. On the bottom of 256, under erosion can degrade ecosystems and agriculture, you need to know the causes of erosion. On page 257, you need to know that plants hold soil with the roots and prevent erosion. So one of the best ways we can prevent erosion on land is to plant plants. So whenever they build new houses out in Santa Clarita and they cut down the hillsides and level them to build houses on flat land, they expose a lot of dirt. And what they do is they immediately plant plants there, grasses and shrubs, to hold that soil in place and so it does not erode. Turn to page 258. On 258 we have different types of erosion. Splash erosion, sheet erosion, rill, and gully. Know these four types. You need to know that rill is the worst. So that would be a multiple choice question. Which type of erosion is the worst? You need to know it is rill, but you also need to know the other four types as well. Moving on to 259, under arid land may lose productivity by desertification. Let's talk about the word desertification. Desertification is the loss of 10% of the soil's productivity through erosion, through dust storms, through something called salinization, which we'll do a lab for. It does not mean turning into a desert. So do not be confused that this is a place turning into a desert. It's not. The term means a loss of 10% or more of a soil's productivity. You can see here, a lot of people think of erosion as being water, but there is a lot of erosion caused by wind. Remember that. Turning to 260, we have here on page 260 about the Dust Bowl. Make sure that you read through this and understand what happened during the Dust Bowl. Down here, the picture and the caption is good. Know the features of the Soil Conservation Service that came out of the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. You need to know what this service is and what it does for farmers. Very important to understand what this agency is. On page 261, we talk about crop rotation. This is very important. There's 3 stars here. Crop rotation we refer to again and again throughout these 2 chapters and throughout the course. So make sure you read through crop rotation very well and understand it. On page 262, we have different ways that you can prevent erosion. Make sure that you study these ways. Crop rotation. Contour farming is really when you're on a hillside and you plant different rows of different kinds of crops. So when water, and some are higher than others. So these bands of green are higher, and a higher type of plant, a plant that grows higher. And so if it rains, the water may run through this brown band and then get captured by the green band. Similar to a terracing kind of erosion, basically turn a hillside and you make steps of flat farming so that the farm are all